This week, our Houston Texans take on the Detroit Lions in what should be an electrifying matchup. Nah, just kidding. It's preseason week 2, so nothing's really going to go on. Preseason week 3 is the one we really are all waiting for, but still, though, we got to talk about preseason week 2 before we get to preseason week 3. And since the Texans are holding joint practices with the Lions this week, I honestly wouldn't expect the Texans starters to play much, if at all, honestly, because O'Brien has said multiple times that he likes joint practices because he gets to pretty much have scrim games against other teams in controlled situations, meaning his players don't have to go out there and take unnecessary hits. Like, for example, would you rather Deshaun Watson practice in a joint practice where they can't hit him, or have him out there in, a real game situation where they can hit him, like where it's free game, they can do whatever they want? Personally, I'd take the first option, a controlled situation. Lions players can't hit Watson, but they do blow the play dead if, they get to him. But they just can't hit him. So, I'm all about preserving our players for the regular season. But even though our starters are unlikely to play, and if they do play, they're probably going to play like very little snaps, I'm going to give you guys some reasons to watch this game. And if you guys think I missed anything, be sure to comment down below so I could add that to my list, so I could be on the lookout for that certain thing. Now, let's start off with the rookie quarterback we signed last week, Jordan. Now, you guys know last week it was the Joe Webb show. Joe Webb was out there the whole game. I was really looking forward to seeing this young rookie quarterback because I really like watching young quarterbacks play. And, unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to watch him last week, but I'm really hoping this week, he's going to have a whole week of practice. He gets a chance to, actually go out there and play and show something so we don't have to watch Joe Webb the whole game. But that's just pretty much an afterthought because I don't think this Jordan guy has much of a chance of making the roster unless he somehow lights it up. But even if he does light it up, he'll probably get IR stashed. So yeah. Now the next thing, it's not really something you should look out for, but in case you guys ask, Duke Johnson will not play this game. Bill O'Brien has already confirmed it. He will not be playing this game. Now the next thing, Higdon versus Crockett. Now personally, I thought Higdon looked the best out of the two last week, but again, that was just preseason week 1. We gotta see what they do from the whole preseason. Personally, I thought it was a waste of throwing Tywan Jones out there with the ones. I think Crockett and Higdon should be the ones out there. I don't think Miller should get any playing time. Preserve him for the regular season. Get these two young guys who I really do think both have a chance of making the roster. Let them show what they have. The next thing, Jordan Akins. Jordan Akins looked pretty good last week versus the Packers. I think he looked better, stronger, kind of ran with a purpose after he caught the ball. I want to see more from him. I have heard that he's been doing good in training camp as of late. And you guys know how I feel about Akins. I always make fun of him, call him old and stuff, because I really didn't like the pick. But hey, if the guy can prove me wrong, I'm all for it. Hopefully this week he, continues progressing forward. Now, Jordan Thomas and Kahali Waring, I don't even know if they're going to play, man. I think both of them are dealing with hammies, from what I heard of. But I don't know if they'll play. I might preserve them till the regular season. However, I find it really hard to see the Texans carrying 4 running backs. So I hope I'm wrong about this, but I have a feeling that they might IR stash Waring. Carry 3 tight ends, which would be Akins, Thomas, and Fells. IR stash Waring and save them for next year. Hopefully I'm wrong about that, but seems like a Texans move to make. The next thing, DeAndre Carter. He's back. He was practicing. Obviously, he's our backup slot receiver. Let's just see how he does. He's going to be out there with the one since Kiki is nursing his ankle injury. And the next thing, Tyron Johnson versus Vincent Smith. Unfortunately, last week it was a Joe Webb show, so we really weren't able to really see much of Vincent Smith. We did see more out of Tyron Johnson, but I'm not going to hold it against Vincent Smith when Joe Webb's out there running around and, throwing ducks in the air. So, not going to hold it against Vincent Smith. Hopefully this week Jordan and Deshaun play a bit so we could really have a chance to see what these guys have. Now the next thing, what about Jester Weah? I thought Jester Weah looked pretty good out there. He had that nice one-handed snag in the middle of the field, I think on a slant route. And he also had a few other receptions. I thought he looked pretty good. Why ain't no one talking about him? I'm going to keep my eye on him because this guy comes out of nowhere and just takes that fifth wide receiver spot from Tyron Johnson and Vincent Smith. The next thing, Floyd Allen. If you guys don't know who Floyd Allen is, just, look him up on YouTube. You're going to probably see a video from Flemlo Raps. Click on it. Listen to his story. Watch that video. And you guys are going to be rooting for Floyd Allen. I am rooting for Floyd Allen. He has an amazing story. And hopefully, he makes his team. But it is a long shot. Because our wide receiver group, our top three, we already got D-Hop, Fuller, and Kiki. And then DeAndre Carter probably is a lock for the backup slot receiver spot. But Floyd Allen, hopefully he makes his team. It's like, that little feel-good story. The next thing. Trash can on wheels, Matt Kalil. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard, Matt Kalil has really been struggling lately in practice. Like, if we thought he looked bad in the Packers game, apparently yesterday's Sunday, the 11th of August, apparently that was like his worst practice ever. Apparently, Brendan Scarlett was abusing him. Whitney Merciless was abusing him. Man, we need to go get Trent Williams. Like, usually I'm not a guy that's, let's go trade for this guy. But we need to go trade for Trent Williams, man. Matt Kalil clearly ain't it. You don't want to throw Titus Howard at left tackle. I don't want to break him. He's doing pretty good at guard. So, go get Trent Williams. Trent Williams will turn this offensive line from terrible to, maybe average. I can go into the season with Shantra Henderson, but I can't go into the season with Matt Kalil protecting Watson's blind side. I just can't do it. We need Trent Williams. I think Trent Williams can take us to the next level. Now, obviously, you got to take a look at Titus Howard. He's a young guy. Another young guy, Max Sharping. Got to, keep an eye on both of them. And then also Zach Fulton. I'm assuming he's going to be playing at center with the starters. And then Shantra Henderson at right tackle. I thought he didn't really do anything bad last week. But he didn't really stand out either in a good way. So I'd say he held his own last week. So, I'm fine with that. Hopefully he's able to do decent for us. And then Rod Johnson. I think Rod Johnson's going to beat out Julian Davenport for our swing tackle spot. Meaning, guy that plays left tackle, right tackle whenever we need him to. In case of an injury or something. And, I think last week Rod Johnson looked better than Matt Kalil, and I think this week Rod Johnson should be out there with the ones instead of Matt Kalil. But enough about Matt Kalil, let's move on. Charles Omenihu. I want to see him actually contribute. He was brought in to be a situational pass rusher from the interior. Last week, the Texans' defensive line did a really good job of stopping the run. What they didn't do a good job doing is getting pressure. There was no pressure at all. I want to see Charles Omenihu bring some pressure on the Lions this week. Next guy, Peter Colombaye. I thought Peter Colombaye looked good last week. Obviously, he had that great play on the goal line situation whenever the Packers got that BS pass interference call, which gave them new life, and they ended up eventually punching it in. But I thought Peter Colombayi did good. He's a fast guy, athletic guy. I think the move to inside linebacker for him was really good. Maybe we're going to be 4 deep at inside linebacker. Obviously, Dylan Cole being considered our 3rd linebacker. And Colombayi would be our 4th. Unless you want to count Brendan Scarlett, because Brendan Scarlett can't play inside linebacker. So, no, obviously last year he was a good special teamer. Hopefully this year he's able to become more than just a special teamer. And then there's Davin Bellamy. Bellamy, he was on our practice squad last year. I really thought he was going to make the team because of, like what he did in college. He was pretty good in college. I thought he was going to make the team. Ended up getting practice squatted. He's still on the team. And he was out there for majority of the game. And I feel like last week, he was like pretty much the only guy that would, bring pressure. Even though it was very little pressure, he did bring some pressure every now and then. And I thought that was good. So hopefully he's able to build off of that. And, maybe since Duke Ejiofor is out for the year, maybe Bellamy can make the team. Now the next guy, Bradley Roby. Last week, Bradley Roby, I will say this. He was good in coverage. He was stuck to his guy. He was, on him. But unfortunately, that guy was a scrub no-name receiver. He did allow 2 receptions by Deshaun Kaiser, who is a terrible quarterback. So, yes, the coverage was great, but you also got to consider who was he playing against, And those 2 guys aren't very good. Hopefully this week he's able to actually do something. Hopefully he doesn't allow those receptions, because those receptions were on 3rd down. Keep that in mind. And last year, one of our biggest issues was 3rd down defense. We just couldn't get off the field. So, hey, maybe he can actually come in here and get us off the field, or, maybe we tripping. Okay, next thing, Lonnie Johnson. I thought last week, Lonnie Johnson, obviously he allowed the touchdown, but I thought he did a decent job for the most part. But that touchdown was just a great catch, perfect ball placement, one of those type of plays. But Lonnie is 6'3", so you would really hope not to see that. So hopefully that's something he could clean up, maybe his timing on the jump or something. And next thing, Aaron Colvin, Breon Body Calhoun. I heard Colvin's been having a good camp. Breon Body Calhoun hasn't. Let's see what they actually do out there this week against Detroit. And then Jalil Adai. Last week, I don't think I mentioned this in my video, or maybe I did. I don't even remember, honestly, because I was pretty pissed at that performance. But Adai did a pretty good job as, that box safety guy, that run stuffing guy. I think he's going to be a good part to this defense. I know he's not supposed to be out there in coverage, but, maybe he could cover running backs out of the backfield or something, since he is probably a little bit faster than our linebackers. Who knows what he can do? All I know is that he's a very good box safety. I would like to see him do more, I know he's not known for his coverage, but I kind of want to see him tested in coverage to see how bad he is in coverage, because I heard from Chargers fans that he is atrocious. Haven't really seen him play that much, because obviously I don't watch the Chargers that much. But I want to see just how bad he is and what his limits are. But at the very least, we got a good run-stuffing safety. So I'm happy with that. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys for today. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.